Alright, what's up, Diablo 4 Rogues? So it's Season 8. This is going to be one of the top tier rogue builds. This is going to be a laser death trap build where all of our damage actually comes out with popping a potion to get these eye beams that shoot out and basically melt most of the content. This is the brand new Uber Belial, and you can see he can't really even fight back at all. So if things don't change, this is going to be definitely the build that you want to play if you are playing a rogue. All of the damage specifically comes with the brand new Belial's Eye Beams boss powers. So how it works is when you drink a potion, you gain 75% damage reduction, and then you also summon these Eye Beams that do some shadow damage over time, which gives us a crazy multiplier. And we scale all of that with specifically damage to close. And there's a multiplier that is uncapped on rogue that you definitely want to try to get as much as you can into damage to specifically the close enemies here, and that is what you are going to want to actually go into to get all of your damage. Now there is a setup if you really want to get min-max in terms of damage, but don't feel like you have to hit all of these things before you go to specifically the big damage. The main thing that you need to activate to get your big damage is basically caltrops, and then you hit your potion. The rest of the stuff is just all extra bonuses, but obviously it's going to help out the build. But as far as the skills go, let's go ahead and go over that and how we use them first. So caltrops is our main source of our bonus that we get from our close quarters, because you need to use our marksman skill as well as a cutthroat. So these just are kind of like the bread and butter for the build. But this one's usually something that you don't really need to monitor. It's just basically you activate caltrops, then hit them with twisting blades, and then you pop your potion. If you want to activate all of these, it's great. It'll do even more damage. But caltrops is absolutely key that you activate if you want the big DPS before anything happens. And then we use twisting blades. This will apply the shadow imbuement to all the enemies, giving us other multipliers. You can either run the cooldown reduction, or you can get the daze effect to get even more damage, because we also play retribution, so we get like bonuses when we start stunning the enemies, and this can actually stun as well. And then also when we pop the potion, it's going to give us the guaranteed stun anyways. Then we also run poison trap, so just activate this before you hit twisting blades. But then we also run poison trap. This will give us a bonus on non-physical damage. It actually gets a buff in Season 8. And then we run the smoke nade. This one over here just gives us more damage. It also applies a daze, which again, creeping death and all these other bonuses that you're going to be getting on the Paragon Board and glyphs. This is more damage. And then we get DeathTrap. So this is used to suck in all of the enemies, and you get these giant explosions, and it just melts things. Great. And then we use preparation to actually get extra cooldown on specifically our ultimate. We spend all of our energy with our rune word system, and then also there is a bonus on the boss powers that will also spend all of our resource to get this bonus. And then as far as our gear goes, we want to run the Air of Perdition. If we can get lucky at chance, that's cool, but it's not really like super important. It just gives us the biggest multiplier. Then Shroud of False Death or the Tyrael's Might is a great option for the armor. Either one is totally fine. And then we're going to be running Slice and Dice. This allows your twisting blades to hit everything in an AoE, which is great. They also return faster. And then we also want to put on, this is the most important, on all the offensive category slots, we want damage to close enemies. We do not need crit chance or crit damage, by the way, in this build, but damage to close enemies is what you want to get everywhere. And then if you can put on the utility slots, the shadow imbuement to last for more casts, that can be okay as well. And then we have Siphon Victuals. This is how we're going to have infinite potions for the build, because, well, the potion does do the damage. And so this is what's going to give us infinite potions. We get lucky at chance for the potions to drop. And then we do want to try to get a GA on armor somewhere, because, well, it's not running Harlequin. And then we run Mired Sharpshooter's Aspect. This makes caltrops a marksman skill, and also applies vulnerability, applies the chill. Basically, everything in Rogue has to play caltrops. It's just the way the game is right now. It's been actually that way for quite some time for rogues. But nonetheless, this is why we use it. It counts as a marksman skill, so we don't have to fit a marksman skill in it. If you do not play this, then you need to throw in a marksman skill, but you need to play this anyways. It's just too good. And then we run the Aspect of Creeping Death, so we can get damage to close enemies as the most important thing that we temper on, just like every other build. If you want to run a crossbow, that's fine. A bow just has like a faster activation because of the way that its attacks per second works with your marksman skill, which is this. But if you want to put on the weapon the chance for twisting blades to hit twice, that's fine. If you don't play it, it doesn't really matter. It's not really that big of a deal. Usually in some builds that is important, but I will also give you guys the twisting blades variant where that does deal the damage, and that is important for the other version of this build. They actually have some overlap. If you want to run the poison twisting blades build, I will also have that ready for you guys, which I already uploaded the guide for. And then we also run Vehement Brawlers. This gives us extra ranks to our ultimate, but it's just basically more damage because it increases all of our damage after we cast the ultimate, and you're going to see the ultimate resets quite fast. And then we also play the Starless Skies for another multiplier here. And then we also run the aspect of Retribution. This is going to give us more damage to stun and knock down enemies, and we also will stun once we activate our potion. And then I like to play the Umbra Crux, but if you want to run a Inner Calm and another damage to close enemies Dagger, this is what you want to run. The reason why, Dagger will give you damage to close, and that's what we want to scale. It's kind of up to you and what you want to do. So you can run Conceited or you can run Inner Calm here, but if you want to run two legendary daggers instead of running the unique, go for it. There is a small like breakpoint like in between where the potion is not activated, and that thing will start ticking. That's the Umbra Crux. There's a little totem that spawns that will do even more damage and just lets you kind of have faster clear speed. So in open world, Umbra Crux would be better, but if you are trying to do pit pushing, you could consider running Inner Calm here as well, because that multiplier is quite good. But up to you and what you want to go ahead and go for, which I also put in like the notes here. And then for the runes, I'm running Igni Ohm and then Seer Cax over here, kind of like the bread and butter that every build plays right now. These are like kind of the two hot things. But if you want to run any other ones, go for it. This build does enough damage, especially in open world content. We'll have to wait and see what their updates are with the pit in the game. But as far as the boss powers go, our main one is going to be the Belials. Then we run Andariels, Adverse Explosive Aura, and Cinderette's Flame. These are all just extra little damage multipliers. Now, going into the skill tree, the first 2 points do not matter. Then we're going to be going into Twisting Blades. You can get either one of these, doesn't really matter too much. Get the extra damage reduction. We're going to be getting the one that chills the enemies. Then we're going to get the Weapon Mastery. And the most important one is the Unstable Elixir. So when you use a healing potion, it's going to stun those surrounding enemies, giving you extra damage. And this is where all of our damage comes in. We can also get this bonus with Evade. If you want to run something else, though, that's totally fine. And then we also get the Evasive over here. So we're going to get extra damage reduction after we dodge, which is quite often. You can slam the rest of your points into like Smoke Nade if you want to. We also get all of this bonus damage over here, and then we get this bonus for shadow damage to stun, and we get the shadow imbuement enemies take 12x damage, so that's going to be nice for us over there. Then we get Frigid Finesse. Remember, our caltrops will then start to freeze and chill the enemies, and then we get this extra lucky hit chance over here for even more resources. And then we get DeathTrap over here, and we max that one out. And then this one's just kind of nice quality of life. I really like that one. And then we also get this barrier every single time we spend energy. And then we have a lucky chance to gain energy. And then for the key passive, it's going to be Close Quarters Combat, which is in every single rogue build from now on, especially in Season 8. It's just too good. The multiplier is too strong because it's technically uncapped. Now, moving on to the Paragon Board. For starters, we're going to run Fluidity. Remember, we need to activate our Agility skill, but this is just going to be kind of like baked into the build. As far as our Agility skill, again, caltrops is one of the most important things. So we're going to have that as our activator here. It's just going to give us extra damage, just a generic multiplier. And then we run into Cheap Shot with Control over here. So this is going to give us our big bonus when we group up all the enemies, and it's going to give us a big, nice pop. And on top of that, we are going to be running Control. This will give us our stun instantly. And then we run into No Witness with Turf over here. So in this board, the most important thing is getting this ultimate damage, because there is a bonus over here on No Witness that gives us a bonus after we activate our ultimates, because it's all about DeathTrap for the build. And then we can go into the Eldritch Bounty with Exploit. So this one over here is going to give us the ability to apply vulnerability. We do have it with specifically our caltrops. However, I feel like the build felt a little bit smoother without having to tag all the enemies with it. It's up to you if you want to run caltrops to apply the vulnerability, which it already will. You're going to have to run that thing anyways, but it makes the build feel a lot smoother. If you want to, you can drop this for any other damage multiplier, but we run this to get specifically when we attack with an imbued skill, we get extra 30x damage for that imbuement's element. So this is all about shadow damage, because that's what the corruption damage does. And then we have Exploit Weakness with Canny over here. So when we hit a vulnerable enemy, and like I said, it just kind of tags us a little bit faster when you run Exploit, so I like it for that. And then we also run Canny, so non-physical damage increases all the damage the enemy takes from you, so it'll just ramp up a little bit faster. But yeah, this is going to be one of the most fun Rogue builds. In fact, Rogue is going to be one of the coolest classes next season, because again, that uncapped multiplier is going to make things a lot more fun. But if things do get updated from the PTR, I will update you guys. But right now, guys, this is the ultimate Rogue build. If you guys are interested in doing any pit pushings, it is capable of doing pit 100, which right now, there's not that many builds that can actually do it. So this will be definitely a top tier build. And like I said, it's going to be really cool to play Rogue because you get a lot of other builds. And if you guys want to run the Twisting Blades, like where that just does the damage, that's a pretty decent build as well. I actually really enjoyed playing that version, which you can mix in like the Ashava Poison, and you can do a lot more damage via Poison versus Shadow if that's what you want to go for. But anyways, that's going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it, and I will also include the planner down below if you guys want to run the build. And then if there are updates, I will update you guys when the season does drop. But take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have fun, rogues.